To what extent did you consider that the post office was in an unusual position in that it was the alleged victim of crimes that it was investigating, that it investigated those crimes itself, and then decided whether to prosecute them?
I'm sad to say at the time I didn't really reflect on it in the way that perhaps I should have done.
You're saying you were briefed on these allegations and the complaints, and at that time, at the briefing, you raised questions about how we were certain that the system was robust.
In the round, yes. I didn't. This was not a huge probing exercise to get to the bottom of every single case. This was a, okay, well, why did we think we're okay kind of conversation. And that was as far as it went.
Do you remember the response you were given when asked those questions?
I think it was along the lines of what eventually comes out in the ISMAE report. In other words, the system's pretty much tamper-proof. We've got strong audit records. We've got independent security going around checking and balancing. And the court cases that we've held have been largely successful. So it was kind of at that level rather than anything more detailed.
What did you think was the likelihood of Fujitsu agreeing to an independent review?
I don't think we thought it was likely at all. I think what we thought it would do was focus their minds to complete the fix that was needed from the freeze of accounts to enable us to then continue with the rollout.
On what basis did you think that it was unlikely that they would agree?
Well, I was just looking at it in reverse, and I think we had no contractual right to insist on it. If they believed that they were going to deliver the programme, then why would they want anybody else to look at it? Was kind of the thinking that I got. And if the boot had been on the other foot, I don't think we as an organisation, as in Royal Mail Group or Post Office Limited, would have accepted a third party reviewing our programme of activity either.
So if we look below 3, where it says, my view is it will be difficult based upon where we are now for us to resist 1 and 2, 2 being the independent review, there is some risk in those areas. That was against what your assessment of the situation was?
That was their internal view. We never saw that and wasn't what we were thinking.
3, it says he wants Dave Smith to have some dialogue with Richard C. That's presumably Richard Christou.
I would assume so, yes. I don't know, but I would assume so.
So they can test the Japanese board commitment to the account and programme, conference call or VC would work. Do you remember that being requested as well?
I remember that, and I also remember attempts to set up that call, and certainly a call did take place at some point, but when it was, I can't remember exactly.
Do you remember what was said on that call?
Only that we were concerned about the elements and were pleased to see that they'd moved forwards and progressed them, and I think because the call would have taken place some time after the programme had started to roll out again.
The letter to Priti Patel MP is effectively taken from this earlier one from Alan Cook.
It does look very similar, yes.
Were you aware at the time that people such as Alan Bates were complaining that the response that was coming from Post Office on complaints was like a template, the same response?
No, I wasn't. And obviously I'd not, as I said to you earlier, I'd not seen this letter before today, but it is clearly quite shocking.